I want to talk about accidental mode changes on the new 2563, or this is the 1/2 inch drive, or the new 3/8 inch drive Stubby. Kind of compare it to the first gen Stubby and talk about why I might be seeing some of those accidental mode changes and the differences between the two. When you put them up against each other, they really look similar in size. Obviously, there's going to be differences in the mode change on the first one, which is that simple button push up top. Makes it real easy in order to change modes, but it's a two-handed operation. So Milwaukee went now with a single-handed operation where you put the drive in neutral, right in between forward and reverse, double tap the trigger, and it will go through its modes. But what I'm finding, especially while I'm working in tight areas single-handed, is that I will pop this into neutral, go to drive something, remove something. It won't happen, and my instinct is to hit the trigger twice. That causes a mode change. Then I either have to pull this back out or look at where I'm at, get to the right spot, hit reverse, go again. It's not that big of a deal, and I get a lot of comments on people either love or hate this trigger and the mode change. I would love to hear your philosophy on it. Will you like it? Will you hate it? What are you thinking about it? But here's why I'm having the issue. I want you to look at this. This is the old model, and I call this a beaver tail, whatever you want to call it. Look at the straight indent here, how it fits into my hand and how I grip it. In this model, there is a stop from this to slip down, and I have larger hands. That could contribute to some of this problems. When I grab this, my thumb stays forward. That could be because of other hobbies that I have, but that's where I keep my thumb. And then to change, I can still bring my finger up. It's not as easy, but use my thumb, go back and forth. That is how I use it. Again, could be because of other hobbies. Now, look at this grip. Definitely has a beaver tail, but not as straight. So when I put this in my hand, see, my thumb is already covering the mode change. My other finger already covering it. I tend to hang on to it higher, so the impact is closer to my wrist. I can change forward and reverse real quick, real easy, and it's right there for better and for worse. So if you want to change and it's right there, it happens, and it can happen quick, and maybe that's why Milwaukee has that. If I was down a little bit more, like the old one, I'd have to raise my thumb up to get to it, and I wouldn't find that neutral position. But since my hand, possibly being larger, possibly because of other grip, you might have the same thing, is up higher on this, I find myself bumping it into neutral, and I get my mode changes. That to me is a major difference that I see in the grip between the M12 models. And when I grab this model, this bottom area always feels large on all M12 tools. A lot of people either love it again or hate it, whatever it's going to be. When I grab this one, this beaver tail section is closer to the trigger. I don't feel like it's as large. So the grip change, while I don't think it's that big of a deal, changes the way this gun feels slightly. And I shouldn't say impact gun, it's impact wrench, but either way, that's how this changes the feel. That's something I think is well worth noting if you're looking at buying this and using it in an engine compartment or somewhere where you're constantly pushing in someplace and you need it to be in the right area, because sometimes it's not a big deal. It switches modes, who cares? But if you're in mode 1 and you accidentally switch to mode 3 or 2 and are using this, you can possibly break something. There's a lot of power here, and when you get into that accidental area, this change in the beaver tail is going to change how you hang on to this slightly and could cause different mode changes accidentally. Very, very slight changes to the grip of tools can actually really change a lot of how a person feels they work for them. And this change is, in my opinion, fairly significant. In other sporting worlds, that change would be huge and could switch someone away from this tool. Now, in the tool world, I don't think that's going to happen. Personally, I don't see a huge difference other than the fact I'm getting accidental mode changes. Could be, again, large hands. Could be, again, just I'm clumsy. I'd love to hear your opinions on my philosophy of the beaver tail. I'd love to hear your opinions on what you think about the mode changes. I almost think for the split that I get from all the shorts we're doing and from everything else, that maybe it would be smart to have the mode changes on top and an option for it to be on the trigger. But switching this up to give you the option is going to cause Milwaukee to have two different models. Then it's going to cause issues with cost and everything else. It's probably easier if they just made this one key and gave you some choices as to how you changed modes via one key. I could see in one key you have the choice, instead of a quick double tap, you could do one really long press and it would then change one mode. It wouldn't be ideal for quick mode changes, but it would solve the problem of maybe accidental mode changes like I'm having, give you options. Or some people might just want to keep it in mode 3 and not let it change modes unless you unlock it. There's a lot of cool things you could obviously do, but then that makes the tool more complex. It goes down a weird road. Again, I would love to hear your comments, and I assume most people are going to say just don't change what works. Keep going with the single button. I don't know. Curious. Anyway, that's my experience. That's what I think. Comments below. Give us a like in this video. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.